Welcome to the channel. You're watching Texas Silver. It is September 2nd, 2025 when I'm making this video. So obviously the prices that I talk about could be different once you're watching this video, but I'm going to get into this real quick. Sorry, I almost didn't make this video. I had a late evening, had my kiddos here, but I was like, you know what? I need to get this video out. So I apologize if I'm not as peppy as I generally am. But the last, what was it? Friday, metals closed up, had a big run. I think silver closed right below 40 an ounce. And then gold, I think, was around, I guess, 34, approaching 3,500. Anyways, today gold closed at $35.50 an ounce, so $3,550 per ounce. That's a record close for gold, and silver is right around $41. So these metals are starting to move. Could there be some pullbacks? Absolutely. But what we've noticed lately is when they do pull back, it's for a very short time, and they go right back up to where they're at, and keep going up. It seems like the manipulation doesn't have the effect like it used to. A couple years ago, that wasn't the case. Now it seems like when they slam these metals down, they immediately are popping back up. So I don't see the metals pulling back. Could they? Sure. But if they do, that is a buying opportunity, and that is a gift, in my opinion. This is not financial advice. Obviously, I'm not a financial planner licensed to give financial advice, but I think any pullbacks at this point is a buying opportunity. And if you want to get these metals, I would get them. So, heard recently that Saudi Arabia purchased 932,000 shares of SLV, which is approximately 30.58 billion US dollars. I don't know why they're buying the shares. I guess they could stand for delivery. Maybe they're trying to drain these exchanges, is my thought process on that. I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm not exactly sure how all these SLV, all these different paper contract shares work, but I believe that's how it works with SLV. So again, don't quote me on that, but maybe that's what they're thinking. Buy these and then take delivery, and so they're trying to drain these exchanges. That's my guess, but that's still big that the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia is now buying silver. You have Russia that has stated that they are buying silver. They're adding it to their strategic reserves. Another thing that happened recently, the Department of Interior, I didn't even know what Department of Interior was, but apparently they just added silver to the critical minerals list, along with copper, and I believe it was platinum. So that's big. I don't see that affecting the price downward. I guess it could, but I would just think that's just going to make these metals even more rare, more sought after, because now the US is going to have to start accumulating these minerals to put back, because they're a critical mineral. They're in electronics, they're in weapons for the military. It's just everything involves silver, electronics. So again, another reason I think these metals are just going to keep going. I think if you're waiting for pullbacks, they may never come. I'm talking major pullbacks. I could see 1%, 2% pullback, but I mean, we're not going to see these big cuts where it just gets slammed down, $1, 30 cents, 50 cents every day, to where they knock $4 or $5 down and, just take 10, 15, 20% off of the price of these metals. So, but again, that's just my opinion. Do what you want. I want to address these comments. I remember I made some pretty big metals purchases. If you go back to my other videos, you can see them.
But I made these purchases when silver was in the high 20s. I think anywhere from 27, 28, 29. I don't think I might have made one purchase. The latest one, it might have been low 30s, like $30, $31 for the spot price of silver. Well, there are a handful of comments that were saying, you know, I was dumb to purchase at that point. And now looking at that purchase, how dumb was it? Okay. I made the purchase at the time because I had the extra fiat to make the purchase. So where I'm going with this is, if you want these metals, you have the fiat, don't get cute. Don't try and time it. Buy the metals. Okay. If not, you may end up paying more, or you may not even be able to obtain them. I don't think we're anywhere near close to that, but you got to realize that it's central banks and countries and institutional buyers that are buying this. These are the whales. Well, once the retail, as in like you and me, wake up to this, then, and Americans, the West, start buying this stuff, I don't think it'll be obtainable. If you've been in this space for any amount of time, you've seen when the beer sickness came through, the cerveza sickness came through, weights for metal were a month, 2 months out. And that wasn't even that big of a deal. So when America wakes up to this, when the West wakes up to this, you may not be able to get these metals. And I'm hearing that $60 to $70 silver by the end of the year from guys that are way smarter than me. So do what you want to with that information. I think there is going to be a point where we're going to be wishing that silver was $50 again. Once we reach that, I think once we get to $50, it's off to the races. There's no resistance. So, but yeah, I think there's going to be a time where we're going to be like, man, I wish I could buy silver at $50 again. So it's $41 right now. If you want it, get it. Again, not financial advice. I've been hearing that gold is going to go to 4,000 possibly by the end of the year. And Peter Schiff, I believe, is calling for $6,000 gold. I don't know the time frame, to be honest with you. I was talking to Jeremiah and he was telling me about that. So I don't think that's by the end of the year, but I think that's where he's saying that gold could ultimately go as 6,000 an ounce. Again, if you have the fiat, why are you sitting on it? You're losing purchasing power every day to that fiat. Put it into something real, put it back, go bury it, find a safe place for it. Don't keep it in a bank. Don't keep it in a safety deposit box. I mean, I guess if you really need to put it in storage, just make sure it's a trusted storage facility. And in my opinion, you need to be close to it, to where you could drive there in a day and get your metal if you had to, if stuff goes bad. But if you have the ability, please store it yourself. You can be smart, find places to store it. I have videos about safes and places to store, so go check those out. Rate cuts. Rate cuts are coming, and probably a series of rate cuts. Last time they did a rate cut, what happened? The 10-year went up. So, and metals went up. So if they do these rate cuts, that's going to frickin', in my opinion, just push the metals higher, because that's going to be more inflation, more money printing. So I think you need to get these metals before the September meeting, which I believe is, I'm going to try. I want to say it was the 9th, but I could be wrong on that. But it's coming up very soon. So talking about my video that I put out last time, I got a lot of positive remarks, comments on that, and I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I went over pretty much who I am, my life in a nutshell, from being a little kiddo up to now, how I got into the metals, my background, all that. Please check it out. I got again a bunch of good feedback on that, but there was a couple things I did miss and I want to go back over. So I told y'all that I was in a battle that was over the Euphrates River. And and I didn't even mention the name, but it was the Battle of An Nazariah. So what happened with that, and a lot of stuff changed with that day, but somehow, if you're my age or maybe a little bit younger, you probably know about Jessica Lynch. So she was actually captured. So what happened was, my unit, the Marine unit, was the first Marines, the first military into Iraq. We were supposed to be the first ones into An Nazariah, but somehow Jessica Lynch's unit got through our lines, went past us, went all the way through An Nazariah. They got to a point, it's called the Northern T. They realized they had gone too far, that they were lost. They turned around, and at that point they got ambushed. So when they got ambushed, that's when we were actually on another mission, and they were like, you guys need to go now. There are some army dogs pinned down. And so we went, and then that's when we got into that big firefight. We did rescue, don't quote me on how many people, but a handful of her unit members that were still there. At that point, she had been captured and taken. But come to find out, we were like a mile down the road from her for 2 weeks or so, when she was in a hospital, prisoner of war, I don't even know what all happened with her. I'm sure you can look that up. But anyways, we were, that whole time, a mile down the road from her, had no idea that she was in that hospital. But I guess until they were able to found out she was there, and we were part of the quick reaction force when the Navy SEALs went in there and got her. So that was my unit that was involved in that. This is another Iraq story. So I've got a good buddy at work, and I was talking gold and silver with him, and he told me that when he was over in Iraq, I don't know what unit he was with or whatever, but his unit, the higher ups were like, y'all need to locate this 18-wheeler, y'all need to get it stopped. So he told me that they got it stopped, and it was a covered flatbed 18-wheeler. And he said that it was lined and stacked entirely of gold bars. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm pretty sure the United States seized all the gold from Saddam. I've heard that we've also seized, Gaddafi's gold. But yeah. But anyways, I thought that was pretty neat that he told me that he saw that. I don't know, that'd have been crazy to see that kind of gold. I would have lost it. That'd have been really neat. But yes, the United States government has done some stuff that I feel is pretty dirty, but we seized that gold, and I'm sure, I don't know what we did with it. I'm sure we either sold it or it's part of our reserves now. I wanted to cover this. So if you've been following the channel for a couple weeks, you saw my videos that were in Alabama with Jeremiah Babe. And yes, we talk about some very serious subjects on here. I have a very serious job. I've had a serious job career since I was 18 years old, but I'm also a huge clown. I love to entertain people. I like to make them laugh. I like to joke around, add in humor whenever I can. So in those videos, I guess there were some comments, saying, stuff about me that, these guys are clowns and this and that. Well, no, I know when to turn it on, when to turn it off, when it's time to get serious, when it's game time. But I like to bring some comedy to these videos because, yes, they can get dry, they can get boring, and I like to make people laugh. I enjoy making people laugh. So some of the videos that I did, like with the getting rid of the hornets, obviously there was a safer way to do that. Yes, I know to do it at night, but that's not funny. So I wanted to do something that was over the top, being a big goofball. Hopefully y'all got a laugh out of it. That was the point of that. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been
it wouldn't have been good YouTube entertainment if I had done it at night, knocked it down. I mean, that's not funny. So that was meant for entertainment purposes. Let's see. Also, open carrying at Buc-ee's. There was a video, I think it was Jeremiah's channel, but I was open carrying and I had a big extended mag, you know, in the firearm, and I was being ridiculous. I was being over the top. That was meant to be funny, but it was also just to highlight how free Texas is when it comes to the Second Amendment and all that. So part of it was meant for comic relief, to be funny, ridiculous, and another part was just to make the point of Texas is free. We believe in the Second Amendment down here, and if I want to open carry down here with an extended mag, I can. Now, that being said, I never open carry. That was for entertainment, YouTube thing only. But yeah, there was a lot of people that were really concerned that I was open carrying. I never do that. That was for the video only, and JB was carrying. It was safe. We're good. So it was just meant for some laughs. So one last thing I want to cover. Thank you so much for all the positive comments. I know I say this all the time, but 99% of the comments I get are very positive, very uplifting. You know, just tell me how much people enjoy the channel, and, you know, that they just enjoy my content, and I guess that I'm just raw and real, and that's what y'all get. I'm not here to be anyone but myself. That's all I am. That's all I portray. If you meet me in person, this is how I am. I'm not trying to put on any type of act and be anything that I'm not. You know, I don't claim to be Special Forces, Navy SEAL, you know, none of that stuff. You know, I was a grunt in the infantry, and it is what it is. But, you know, I don't try and claim to be some high-speed, low-drag operator. Yes, I'm very proficient with my tools, but, you know, that's it. But anyways, I try to respond to all these comments, and a lot of times I'll just give a short, you know, thank you very much. It really means a lot to me, and I mean it. Some of the comments just really hit me hard, and it's just like, wow, you know, it feels really good for these comments. But I don't have time to, you know, write a paragraph back to all these. So I try to respond to everyone, but I respond a lot of times with a short message just to let you know that I am reading what y'all comment, and I do appreciate all the comments and all the positive feedback that I get. So we're gonna leave it at that. I may end up getting this video out in the morning. It's 9 o'clock at night, Texas time right now, but I just want to get this knocked out. I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you again so much. Like, subscribe, share the videos. God bless every one of y'all. Hopefully y'all had a safe Labor Day, and until the next one.